Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
So let's get to it.
Bring the pain!
What's up, everybody? This is Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you this week and Dr. Roto. Ooh, yeah. Man, it's been crazy. Doc was just got on the radio earlier. Already got Ken Vick rolling in the house. What's up, man? Are you ready for another Hard Hits review? Ooh, yeah. I mean, UFC was cooking yesterday. Cooking, man. So I'm going to do a quick review of that. We're going to go out. It's son's birthday tomorrow. So then that means we're going to go out and do a little thing real quick, and I go back to work after being out for surgery. So that's great. It's also great to see you as well, too, D1. Always a pleasure. Missed you on Thursday. Definitely spit out some knowledge. We had a great show on Thursday. So that's what this show is. It's a review show. Also, I will be giving out a DFS NASCAR lineup that is from DFS Hero. So you get a free racing lineup today, people. I mean, what more could you want, man? This is what we do. We try to make all of you our rich friends. Ooh, yeah. All right, let's get to it. I don't know what's up with my camera today, but hey, that's what we do. We get to it. All right. Well, we started out the first fight of the night with Pierre Rodriguez. Now, this is just out of context of how it's going to go. So I'm just going to read how it was written. And then, of course, it was a little different on how it worked out. So I just want everybody to say that. Also, so it's Pierre Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes. Everybody was giving Sam Hughes a shot. I did run her in a DFS lineup. She did perform well. That was good. I think she got about 37 points, and that's almost as much as some of the other people got points. So that was the disturbing thing. And then, of course, we'll get to my guy, but that was the reason why he was the soup can of the week. That's Chris Curtis. But we got that win right there. And then we came back. We got Elijah Smith with the sub, and that was crazy because I actually had sub in points, so I was able to hit on that. Got 2 wins in a row. Bia Mosquita, I did not have enough exposure. One lineup I had her in. I should have had her in a lot more. I knew she was explosive, but I thought Rendon could actually do anything. No, Rendon got 0 points. 0 points. 0 points. It's the worst DFS score ever, other than when you could strike out all game and get a negative 1 point on DK or FanDuel back in the day. Yeah, those are wild days. And then, of course, we got Hector Sosa, who I had this fight going under, so I didn't care who got knocked out for the parlay of pain. But I was like, okay, well, what's going to happen in this fight? Of course, we had Sosa winning. Sosa won, and we keep going along. I also do want to throw into the fact that that this card, I thought, being aggressive, was going to be 6 finishes, 8 overs. It went 7-7. So I felt, and I did say that on the show last week with Dan when I was talking to him, that I felt like the key factor was going to be the main event. Everybody kind of knew it was going to go under. We didn't know that it was going to go that under, although I did have first round knocked out. It was plus 480 right before the fight started. So for both fights. So I actually thought that was really cool. That was a good move. Now, I will say the sports books, which I have a whole session. I'm going to light a sport book up. I am about to rail a sport book. So if you want to see a sport book get railed, you want to hear some shit, then stay tuned, because I got the first time ever I'm doing things that make me a jerk on my show. I'm doing it because I'm going to be a jerk for my guy Fins. I'm going to be a jerk for my guy Fins, right? So when we get back and we get back to the fight, Manuel Sousa, dude, like, I gotta say, Balaji Oki got like 47 points on DK, I think it was, FanDuel, one of the ones, and he got knocked out. Like, but dude, I couldn't believe that he survived some of that stuff. But Oki looked good. Oh, I love Oki. And I will take him in a losing. I'll take him on DFS any time of the time, because I at least know that if he's going to get finished, he's going to put out enough product to get you at least some points, unlike Rendon. That's why she tried to change her name from Montserrat. She tried to fool us, people. So we're not going to play with that game. Matus. All right. Next, we had, of course, I had Chris Curtis versus Madibek Orolbai. Now, look, I admit I was completely wrong on Chris Curtis. Dan, that was his soup can. He knew he was going to get beat up. I thought that at least Chris Curtis could put on a boxing show. He got held down the whole fight. And literally that whole taking both legs and wrapping them together like a celery stalk that Orbai was just doing. And dude was just sitting over there like, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? Bro, do something. Kick, fight, punch, do something. If you submit or get knocked out in the process, I'd rather see that than have to see you get held down by your legs. You go on the X last night or today, whatever day it may be that you wrote this, and you go, you make, it's not an excuse. I get it. You got held down. Max Holloway got held down last week too. He knew when he started his little podcast this week that he was going to have to hear it. And he was like, just get out of the way. I got held down. It wasn't a fight. It wasn't a boxing match. And that's what makes the beauty of the UFC so unique, so different, and why sometimes stylistically, which we're going to have that this week, we actually have a very weird stylistic matchup in one of the fights Dan and I will be covering on the Fight Club of Pain live on Thursday. So you have to make sure that you get that. Also, let's get back to it. So we have Eric Anders beat Brad Tavares and retire afterwards. Hey, great stuff. That was awesome. I actually picked Eric Anders. I just don't like Tavares anymore. And last match, I didn't like him either. So I was done with him. He looked done. Weigh-ins, he looked done. Eric Anders, that story. Plus, Eric Anders was way better at the weigh-ins. Weigh-ins help. Weigh-ins do help. Like, when we saw Smotherman faceplant, I mean, we weren't going to start him, were we? We had to take him out. We're smart about these things, people. Charles Johnson getting it done. Energy team. What? I love it, man. Like, Charles Johnson, always good. He knew that he got knocked out too fast, got caught against Alex Perez, and he knew he had to run it back. He ran it back against a really good opponent in Bruno Silva. Silva looked great. He was actually around 35% owned on the DFS slates, around there, depending on what site, what contest you would be in. But at the same time, that was one of those things that kind of worked out. Of course, I picked Charles Thompson. I also picked Vitor Petrino over Steven Aspelin, but Aspelin was great for DFS. That dude was literally bare minimum 7,200, man. I had him at least on 5 out of 6 lineups. At least on 5 out of 6 lineups. He returned well. Over 50 points. He did better than Robertson. She got 45 points in a win. Like, what's that? A couple takedowns and a bunch of control time. That's what this card was. On the DFS slate, there was just kind of like you could say some of the simulators had an advantage because, for me, I'm only playing 2 or 3 lineups. But I'm not playing 150, 20, 30, 40, 50 different lineups. And then times all of our friends playing these lineups and getting these lineup strain going in. But it was definitely one of those weeks where it didn't matter if you had 5 wins out of 6 fighters. It was how they won. And because Robertson was on she was on 100% of my lineups, a 45-point win sucked. And so, that kind of worked it out. And then, of course, Chris Curtis. But I will say, dude, I don't know. I don't know how either one of them didn't get knocked out. I don't know how. But when Aspelin I think it was the second round, after Aspelin had just been beaten on, dude, Petrino, he takes 4 hooks to the jaw and takes 1 step back and throws a freaking jab. I'm like, I would have got knocked out. I got knocked out on maybe the first or the second one, maybe. But that's because I'm like, down here at 160. Dude, he clocked boy up on that stuff. I love Steven Aspelin. He is awesome. Awesome. Love his work. So let's get to Marwan Rihiki. Like I said, Rihiki gonna show you the way, right? And Rihiki showed us the way. He took an onslaught barrage from Harry Hardwick. And look, Harry Hardwick actually gained a lot of respect for me. I kind of just laughed. He was the laughing stock. He got shin kicked to death last fight by Caio Fernandez. And then this fight, it's like his heart and his chin are bigger than the rest of his body because he got clocked. There was multiple times in this fight, Hardwick got up on that fence and ate like 5, 6, 7 shots, elbow. I mean, Rahiki was throwing everything at him, drop-in elbows, and this dude almost knocked Rahiki out. Well, not saying he knocked him out, but stumbled him with a haymaker to get him off of him. That was impressive. But that's why I say his heart and his jaw are stronger than he is, because unfortunately this time around, unlike the shin, his jaw gave out and broke. So man, that dude getting his jaw broke and seeing it the rest of his fight, that round, the end of the second round, he was just like, and the announcer goes at one point, he goes, either he's gassed or his jaw's broke. And the other guy goes, I think it's both. So that was vicious. But Rahiki was one of my DFS targets and was definitely the guy that I loved a lot and won a lot of money on and targeted on a lot of my parlays. So we have him going out with knockout. We got that. Of course, Andre Fili, Touchy Fili got, I have more respect for him now than I had before going into this fight, because it was insane. It was insane. The amount of the product he put out and the punishment Delgado gave him and almost finishing Delgado. He cracked him in that first round. I thought that if Delgado did not pick up the pace at the end of that third round, that they were going to give it to Fili because of that first round practically knockdown. Right? But that's not happened. My guy, Jose Delgado, came through points. And this leads to some crazy, crazy parlays that I want to talk about after I get through all this. Right? So I thought Umar Sy was going to be safe. Dude, you are not safe. Ian Cutelaba beat you your ass. Like literally beat your ass. He took you to the ground. Then you got all strong. Like, oh, he can't do that to me. He took your ass back down and subbed you. Like, dude, what is wrong with you? You're like that big dude that everybody's kind of scared of. And then they feel your power and you're like, I can work around this. And you got worked around, bro. You got worked around. You, Sy, broke my 14-leg parlay. My 14-leg money line parlay was broken by Umar Sy. Whatever, dude. It's okay. That lets you know that I went 13-1 on this card. So, of course, Amanda Lemos had a great. I thought Amanda Lemos looked great on the feet. And I thought the way that she, at one point, when she busted up from Robertson's grappling, it was like, oh, she's going to whip. But that second round, me and Dan almost nailed it. That second round submission almost happened, but did not happen. That's why I said submission points was one of the safest plays you could play for her. And I think that was a plus. It was a negative 300. You got to take what you got to get. But that being said, also going on, I was also to get a round 3 decision or a round 3 plus or decision. I meant round 3 or decision. So round 3 finish or decision for plus 115 on the Robertson side. I had to finish coming late, second, third round. We locked in on the second round. I'll talk about that parlay in a minute because that was a big parlay we almost hit, but we did hit the round robin on it, and that returned some money. So, and remember, at the end of this show, I will be giving out that free NASCAR lineup. That being said, let's get to it. Josh Emmett came in there, had this nice little walk-in song. I was like, oh, look, this is going to be beautiful. He's going to be all nice, right? He walked in and he got knocked out. And he was doing what he could do. He was in the face. He was rolling it down. He was throwing haymakers, lots of haymakers. But guess what? Vallejos was like, I got this. Zip. He kept it tight. He kept it strong. And he countered. Once, at this one point, there was a point, I want to say around the minute part in, you could start seeing Vallejos like he had his timing already. He already had his timing. Because there was a couple exchanges where both of them went to throw a punch, counter throw a punch, and they stopped. That let me know as a fighter, as a point fighter, that you already thinking about what I'm doing, but I just saw what you could do at speed, and I was faster. And it wasn't long after that he knocked him out. He knocked him out. I had the first 60 seconds as a bet. It was a plus 3,500, I think it was. Something like that. And it was for either fighter. But just saying, like, when I'm playing these and I'm suggesting them in the subs only Discord at Dr. Roto, which, by the way, use code word WIN and you could be our rich friend, get a percentage off. Doc also gave out a new code that I haven't got. I missed it. I was running around getting coffee ready or something. But there's a code that gives you 25% off all of our product right now at Dr. Roto. But the only way you can get it is if you go listen to the SiriusXM replay, if it's available. If it's not, hey, we're talking about getting you some money. You easily win. And at the end, I will talk about that. Right? So, that being said, like I said, knockout points, safest thing to play for Vallejos. Vallejos. It was just going to happen that way. Let me take a drink real quick. Yes, you got to drink coffee out of a Bring the Pain mug. So, that being said, let's get to some of the DFS recommendations. Vallejos, Delgado, Asplund, all return. Curtis missed. Sucks. Here's what it is. I gave out Asplund, Rahiki, Robinson, Smith, Delgado, and Curtis. Only really two losses on that. And Curtis just didn't put up enough points. It only returned doubled up. I didn't play a double up this week, so too bad, so sad. But if you play doubles up with that lineup I gave out, you win. So flipping back over to it as well, too. Let's go through the DFS lineup, the percentages. Asplund was 17% owned. That was on this show. Now, Curtis was about 10 to 12% owned. That was good. If we could have just got the 30, 40 points from Curtis, we would have definitely seen green even on the GPP's lineups with that site. Rodriguez, 24%, kind of like that. Vallejos, 30%. Delgado, 35%. Then you was 4% owned. Now, I get it. He lost, right? But even at 4% owned, he put out almost 25 points. That's not bad for somebody that was priced that low and was a complete fade. Hughes, 17% owned. Anders, 24% owned. Rahiki showed us the way. 20% owned, right? Cutelaba, 17%. Salsa. I said Salsa from the top of the moons. We got that. 11% owned. Orbai. You thought you were going to get a discount with him? Nope. 32%. Sosa, 19%. And then, of course, we had Mesquita was 22%. That was good. And Feely was 6%. Feely put out enough product, let's say, he put out enough effort to actually score well on the DFS. I was looking for a word for that. He put out enough volume. Let's put it that way. All right. So that means I went 13-1 overall for all the picks. The parlay of pain was 4-1. That was Moneyline Rodriguez. Salsa, no distance. There was almost a knockout in that first round. He almost got him in that first round. I almost thought the ref was going to stop it. He didn't. It didn't happen. Salsa, no distance. Rahiki, knockout sub. And then Delgado, knockout points. Got that all. That was all plus. We had a plus that. The Rahiki one was a plus 100. A plus 100. 4-1. The parlay of pay, the round robin returned more than enough money. So it was nice. And that's why we always round robin. It's a little bit investment. Again, you can come speak to me at Dr. Roto. I can help you with how to play the round robin correctly so that it will return your money whether you win or lose. Because even when we went 2 and 3 last week, we returned 80% of our investment. I'd rather return 80% than lose 80% on top of the 100% we put in. Makes sense, people. That's what I'm here to help with all of you with. So that being said, let's get over to my money line. And now this the parlay of pain was free. The only people that see the actual picks that I make, my 13-1, are the Fight Club of Pain. They're the only people that I feel need to see that. It's just me. But they get my free my sheet put in our Facebook page, whatever, it's just popping up all the time. So when I run my mouth, there's proof and there's people looking at that proof. And it's right there. I say it with my chest and I mean it to win all of us money. True that facts. All right. So money line was 5-0. The five-tastic picks went 5-0 on picks. However, it went 3-2, but those were 2 unders. That was the Asplin fight, and that was the Sosa fight I had going under. We almost there was almost a knockout in the Sosa fight, not Sosa. And there was multiple knockouts because I just played knockout. If I would just play distance, which I did cover myself with distance later, then we would have won that money. That's how close we were. There was an actual points that these fights could have been stopped, and it didn't happen. So that's how close. Discretion. We'll talk about discretion soon. I gotta say a site for that. Also, we did a community parlay. And here's we're gonna float our boat. We did knockout in points, Delgado, knockout in points for Vallejos, and we did sub in points for Robertson. That was a plus 2,800. I already won. I won on that. We won. So we're 3-0 for the community. I actually took out the sub and points for Robertson and inserted in the sub second round that we were talking about for plus 1,100. And when she almost had that, I was like, ooh, if she subs her, they're going to be buying this back. This was live on the Fight Club of Pain on Thursday between 2 people that keep their notes and their stuff away from each other until that show so that we see where we fall in place. Plus 20,000. I had to round robin that, so I made some money from that. But plus 20,000. What more do you want me to do? What more do you want us to do? That would have been $2,000 on a dollar. And that was given out for free and had an opportunity of happening. So if you just heard what I said, Sosa, almost a knockout. Asplund and Petrino had multiple opportunities at knockout, stumbled both of them. Asplund, I thought for sure should have got that second round finish when he was mounting and punching the hell out of Petrino. I don't know how he came out of that, but I would have stopped the fight. And, but maybe that's just my betting mind stopping at that. And Robertson not getting that actual lock for, then that gives kudos to Amanda Lemos for defending the submission in that round for that. That right there shows what we cook every week in the soup kitchen on the Fight Club of Pain. Yeah. Woo. Hey, I'm just trying to do the best I can for all of you. And this was a good week. We won a little bit of money. I didn't really play much. I was just doing other things. I'm still recovering from my surgery. Hopefully getting back to work tomorrow, but we'll see how that goes. All right. Well, we're to that point at the end of the show where before I call somebody out, I'm going to give away. Here is today's DFS lineup for the NASCAR. And for the NASCAR event today, it's Pennzoil 400. So look at that. I know what race it is. Must have knew what I was doing. Let's start off. We got Kozlowski, Suarez, Hamlin, Larson, Gregson, Reddick. That's your play. But here, I didn't really like the Suarez part, or the Gregson part. So I actually came down and I was able to move up to 2 people that I will give away if anybody on this show goes and watches and goes into the Subs Only Discord at Dr. Roto and asks in the NASCAR channel, Heat Override, who are the 2 people you switched out them for. I got a fill-in. I gave you a clue with my last sentence. If you didn't catch what I did there, that's the key to get your lineup drilling away. Oh, yeah. Look at that. You get a little rhyme with a DFS thing and a reason why. But if you take that lineup and win cash, you heard it here. But you should see the other one I got. I love it more. I love it more. All right. So let's get to this last thing. Let's get to this. Let's get some fun little music going because we're going to do this for a second. The things that make me a jack. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to mention any site's name, but if you go check the records, you will clearly know that this site just jacked all of its customers out. One of the guys I've been in the MMA community, Fins, has been, me and him have been talking back and forth. And I was introduced to him when Walker, who came on a couple weeks ago with Dan and I, came on the Fight Club of Pain. That's how I first introduced to Finn. So now I watch Fins every once in a while, but we talk all the time. He had 2 knockdowns for Vallejos last night, and he did not get his slip paid out. And everybody going, wait a minute, there was 2 knockdowns. Was there really 2 knockdowns? Yes, there was. However, one site has it as 1 knockdown. Emmett clearly got hit onto the fence and went down, got back up, and got knocked out. That's 2 knockdowns. That's 2 knockdowns. Okay? He got mounted on the second one as well, too, practically. That's 2 knockdowns. The site, UFC, says that Vallejos has 2 knockdowns. But a sports book, both DFS-wise and on the sportsbook side, has 1 knockdown. Another sport book has 2 takedowns or knockdowns on both the betting site and the actual DFS site. So the UFC says that Kevin Vallejos has 2 knockdowns. DraftKings says that he had 2 knockdowns. The other site says that it was 1 knockdown only and did not pay out. I had Vallejos as my captain. That is 18 more points on the DFS slate. And yes, if you could say that 18 points doesn't make a difference in a DFS slate, then you, my friend, are the most informed person in the entire world, because 0.1 can change a whole DK slate. 0.5, 0.01 can change a DFS slate. And when you're talking about 18 points missing, being taken out on a DFS slate, are you kidding me? You literally said, and how are you going to fix this? You're going to hide behind your stupid little terms of service. I already know you are, because I've played with you about this game before with pitchers in the past. You're going to get out on Fins not paying that bet, when another site and the UFC clearly have it 2 knockdowns. But because the bets are closed now and the windows are closed, this site gets away with it. That's terrible. That's terrible that I said it. It's terrible that you can go to my X, which is, right up, right there, and you can follow it at Heat Override. You can see it of what I'm talking about. The fact that site had the gall to put 1 takedown, drew my boy out of his bet, right? Which he'd have won some money. It was a plus 650, and he had a double-digit bet on that, right? That's not cool. You take out the fact that Vallejos was on 5 out of 6 of my lineups. I got points for him on DK, but I didn't get those 18 points for that knockdown on FanDuel. Oops. Have a great day, everybody, and always remember to bring the pain. Ooh.
everybody. It's Heat Override. So let's get
Take
to
that.
Bring the pain!
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy subscription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. Until the next visit, be well